that you have, please go ahead and raise your hand, but we do request that you write down your question because it may be answered during the presentation itself. So next. Okay, and you should have all received a recording notification. So this session is now being recorded. So welcome everyone. This is what we'll talk about today. So what really are global virtual internships? Why do a virtual internship? When are these happening and who is eligible to apply? We've received a lot of emails on eligibility. So, can I apply for this if I'm a student or if I'm not a student anymore? So we will go over those details. The types of internships. So what are the internship opportunities or suggestions in Costa Rica, England, and Italy? How, the application and placement process, the cost for this internship. These are unpaid internships. Yes, you can afford it. We have scholarship opportunities for students. The next steps in the application. So we have a timeline. And finally, the question and answers. So you can see here we have our presenters. I'm on there. We have Miss Stephanie Wells from Skyline College, Program Services Coordinator for Study Abroad. Welcome, Stephanie. See her waving her hand. And we have Ms. Corinne Cohen, Program Director for AIFS Study Abroad in London. She is calling in from London, so good evening to you, Corinne. And we have Carla Caballo, for a Resident Director at AIFS Study Abroad in Costa Rica. So welcome to our presenters. And I will go on to the next slide on terms of what are virtual internships. So a virtual internship is similar to your traditional in-person internship. We are offering these for academic credit. So you will be taking a 3-unit course, cooperative education course through Skyline College. This internship is semester-based, so it's for a full semester. Academic, supervised, practical, and professional experience that exposes you to responsibilities in a career field of interest. Some of the industry sectors, we've received questions on this as well. So business, finance, communication and media, design, fashion, education, politics. I think I saw that in for the UK. And another thing we will mention is the support that you would be receiving in this internship. So there is support from AIFS abroad, who is our partner and program provider for these internships, and from our faculty here in the US. And finally, you will be working with the international organizations and companies. I do want to highlight that we do have our faculty member who will be teaching the co-op course here, Professor Lavinia Zanasti. She can wave her hand, she's right there. So if there are any questions, about the course or so, please feel free to add it to the chat or write down your questions for the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. So why do an internship? This is something we do receive questions on. Obviously, improve starting salary. A lot of employers like to see some experience in your resume, and an internship, especially if it aligns with your professional interests, really stands out to potential employers. You can explore professional interests. So if you're not sure about, you're in community college and you're thinking, well, I really don't know what I want to do. Well, this is an opportunity to explore a career, really enhance your personal development, time management skills. And in this virtual setting, it adds on a new layer to, managing your professional work life. You also develop a professional portfolio, that you can share with prospective employers in the future. You make valuable global contacts, and I'm emphasizing the global there because this is a global virtual internship, and you gain professional skills, so cross-cultural skills, because you'll be working from folks outside of the United States. And you gain experience working remotely and with a global team. So working remotely is something that in the past 8 months, a lot of us have gotten used to. It's sort of becoming our, I don't want to use the word new normal, but that is the reality of what a lot of folks around the world, not just the United States, due to the pandemic, majority of us are working remotely. Next slide, please. So when is this happening? Here's the big thing. So these internships are starting spring 2021, from February 1st to April 30th. They are virtual, unpaid internships in a variety of fields. The 3-unit class is general cooperative education for the virtual internship. It does have transferability elective units to the California State University system. Who is eligible to apply? Okay, another big question. You have to be over 18 at the time of the internship. There is a minimum of 12 college units to be taken at the time of the internship. So if you're just starting in the spring semester at community college, this might not be a good fit for you. A minimum GPA of a 2.25 is required for the internship. And another question we've received is, do I have to be a student? No, you don't have to be a student. We are a California community college, and you can enroll. We are open access, so you can apply and enroll into any of our courses. And this program would be one of those programs where you would apply. And if you have taken college units or you have a degree, you're also eligible to apply. So if there are any alumni who have participated in our programs, our study abroad programs, you are welcome to apply for this internship opportunity.
May I ask a question, Zed?
Yes.
Where it says under who is eligible to apply and it indicates minimum 12 college units taken at time of internship, does that mean they should have completed 12 units prior to the internship, or do they need to take the 12 units during the internship?
It means completed prior to starting the internship. Yes.
Okay. And so
So if you
therefore,
have a student who has done 6 units this semester and is going to do another 6 units in the spring semester, they wouldn't be ready for the
they wouldn't be
internship.
eligible.
They wouldn't be eligible, yes.
Okay. So when another question, just for clarification purposes, if a student has completed 12 college units at another community college, would they be eligible?
Yes.
Okay.
They would
So it doesn't have to be at our institution.
No, it doesn't have to be at our
And
institution.
of course, they have to have proof by transcripts and such.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank
and
you.
We do have on the application, we'll go into that in further detail. You can attach your transcripts. So even if you've taken college units from other colleges,
Yes.
you can attach those.
Thank you.
Great question. Next slide. All right, so how the application and placement process. So this I will hand it over to Corinne to go over, but you can see there are 3 boxes in there, but this will be Corinne's area.
Hello everybody, good morning or good evening as it is here in London at the moment. It's nice to meet you all virtually as we're doing things at the moment. So AIFS stands for the American Institute for Foreign Study, and we organise study abroad programmes for US students to come. You've probably seen posters around your campuses for programmes in Florence or London or Costa Rica, and we're the partner with San Mateo Community College District and with Santa Rosa Junior College as well. So had it been a normal year, we would have those students in London right now doing a full semester here, but obviously that wasn't quite the way things worked out this year. So instead we are making other possibilities available for all you students so that you can have an international experience in a different way. Which is where the thinking behind the virtual internships came from. So we're hoping to bring that intercultural, international experience to you via this programme. So we have got 3 locations, as we briefly mentioned before. We've got London, England, we have got Florence in Italy, and we have got our Costa Rica programme. I'll talk to you a little bit about London and about Florence, and then Carla will talk to you about Costa Rica. But before I do that, I just wanted to say a few words about how the placement process will work on the part of AIFS. You've obviously got an application that you need to complete for San Mateo Skyline or Santa Rosa. And then once you've completed that application, the relevant parts of that application will be shared with us as the partner institution. We'll be taking special note of your resume, and we'll also be taking special note of the essay that you submit as part of the application as well. So it's really important within those 2 items for you to give us as much information as you can about yourself that's relevant to your application. So obviously there's the academic side of things, there's what you're doing as a major and the courses you have taken. But more importantly is your experience, if you've had any relevant work experience. It doesn't just have to have been paid work experience, it could also be any voluntary experience that you've had. It could be any work that you might have done at college or indeed at high school. Maybe you've been a peer advisor, maybe you've worked on the student government, you've given up some time there, maybe you've written some articles for your school newspaper. All these sorts of things are really relevant and demonstrate skills, not just to us, but in turn to a future internship placement as well. So do think carefully about what you put on that application, because we will be reading it carefully, but in turn we will be sharing that with the internships that we look to place you at too. So once we've got all that information, we will look at where we've got availability with suitable internship placements in the relevant country that you've applied for. It's really helpful to us if you can list a few different areas in which you would be interested in interning, because as much as I love to think that we would be able to place you all in your first choice of internship, realistically that's not going to happen for everybody. We've already got placements set up with various sites in all of our 3 locations, but whether those spaces are still available at all of those sites come the new year, and whether we've got enough spaces for everybody who wants to participate as well is another question. So we will have a space for everybody, but whether it's in your first chosen area or whether it's in another area, that I can't make promises to everybody on that, but we'll absolutely find a placement for you all that makes use of your skills, and that will be a worthwhile international experience for you all. So do list a few choices on there of where you'd like to be working, albeit remotely. That'd be really helpful for us. So we'll read through all that information, we'll talk to the placements. We may very well be then emailing you directly to check. We might be checking things that are on your application. We might be asking you for a little bit more information. Might be talking to you about the kind of placements that are available. It may also be by come the new year that we've got other placements that we haven't got listed on the slides that you're going to see too. So it's not an exhaustive list of placements. We may very well have additional placements, and so we'd want to talk to you to make sure that was something that you were comfortable with interning in, and also that it's going to make good use of your skills as well. So there will be a dialogue with you while we look to place you in a relevant internship site. And then once we've found a good match for you, we will set up an introductory meeting with your internship by Zoom or something similar, where you can have a chance to speak to who would be your supervisor at that internship. They'll be wanting to discuss with you and also ask you some questions, so kind of treat it like a mini interview. We always say to students it's really, really good for you to have done some independent research on the company and come armed with some questions for that as well. But we'll talk to you more about that in due course further down the line of the placement process. And then once that's all been worked out on our end and on your end, off you'll go. You'll start working. We'll be checking in with you and with your supervisor to make sure all's going smoothly. We'll be sharing some information with you about cultural differences. Every country is different to the US in different ways, so we'll be giving you some background on the sort of cultural and work differences that you can expect in all of those locations. And then we'll be, as I said, we'll be checking in with you just to make sure everything is going smoothly and to make sure that everything is going smoothly from your supervisor's end as well. I would say to make this a really successful experience for you, you need to come with an open mind. You need to think flexibly. That you need to know that you're going to be doing an internship somewhere in a different part of the world where working practices will be different. So do manage those expectations. Know that they're not going to be putting you into a senior managerial position on your first day. It's going to be a lot of basic admin tasks in most of those sites, certainly initially, until they will see what you're capable of, and then those responsibilities in most cases will grow. But like in any job, whether you're doing it virtually or whether you're doing it in person, your employer's site needs to make sure that you're capable of performing the tasks that they want to give you, and then they'll grow from there. We've got about 10 students doing some virtual internships in London at the moment, and they've been really successful. The students are really enjoying the experience and the additional responsibilities that they've been given. So yeah, it's a new venture for everybody. The companies that we work with, of course, a lot of those previously didn't have much of a virtual presence, as it were. So we've got companies that have had to make that shift because of COVID to working remotely and to putting new measures and new procedures in place to make the workplace and indeed their business successful ones. And you can certainly help with that. I will talk to you a little bit about each site, so if it's okay just to move that along for me, Stephanie, just to move it to London, that'd be great. So London, which is where I'm based, sorry, I should have said that at the beginning. So I work on our London programmes. The main options that we have for you here in London are threefold. We have some options in the political area, so for some political lobbying groups and political charities and agencies. It's mostly administration support for those groups, you'll be asked to do some research for them, you'll be asked to do some event coordination. As with almost all of the placements that we have available, they'll be supporting their online presence as well, so managing some social media accounts and some web accounts as well too. And that could be anything from a group which is supporting like the Labour or the Conservative Party. It's out two of our major political parties in the UK, to a women's rights group as well. There can be those groups and the placements can be quite varied. And then we've got some charities in London. We have a lot in the voluntary sector. We've got students currently doing virtual volunteering with charities which are focusing on the elderly, with the homeless and with the environment. The students who are focusing on the elderly are helping to organise a series of virtual events for those elderly population, to ensure that they're not alienated, that we are helping to keep them active and entertained during this difficult time for everybody. We've also got students working on environmental charities and helping them update marketing materials and educational materials for their environmental sites across London. And then we've got students working for a homeless charity where they are helping to research and write papers and write web and blog content for that charity's website about the homeless problem and the homeless population in London, and helping to reach more people by putting more into their online presence. And then business management, we've got some opportunities in advertising and in public relations in London. That will be a lot of, if you're strong on writing and you've got good proofreading, editing skills, that could be something for you to consider with that one. They also help organise events which are pretty much always virtual these days. And again, managing social media accounts in London as well. And then I'll come on to Florence. So my colleague Sophie works in our Florence office. She can't be here this evening, but I'm going to talk on the possibilities that we have in Florence as well. So in Florence, there's also possibilities working in business management, working in a web-based industry. That is mostly working again on the social media side of things and helping manage some of the customer accounts and looking at advertising strategies as well. So again, if that's something you're interested in, then please note that down on your application. In tourism, the opportunities that exist in tourism are helping to move the tourism online. So tourism, obviously, until sort of 6 months ago, was always very much a in-person experience, but now it's had to take on a slightly different role. So we've moved that to move that online, and that will be helping professors and art historians to transfer information, to write up information and put it onto an online platform there. And then fashion, for anybody who doesn't know, Florence is one of the major fashion capitals, slightly after Milan. It depends who you talk to in Italy. So there are some options available in Florence for working in fashion as well, working predominantly with a fashion researcher and lecturer, again on the social media side of things, and some general office admins responsibilities there as well. But it's a really good way of getting some inside knowledge of the fashion industry, particularly in a different country as well. So if that's a field that you're interested in exploring, getting that overseas experience, could be incredibly beneficial for you. I should say as well that with all of the options that are available in Italy and Florence, there isn't any Italian language required. If you have got some Italian, don't get me wrong, that would definitely help, but there isn't a requirement for you to speak Italian and to be able to take advantage of any of these opportunities. And the other thing I wanted to say about our European options, just before I hand over to Carla, is I know this, I'm sure you know this already, but just to point out that in London and in Florence, there's quite a significant time difference between here and California. So it's 5:30 London time at the moment. We are 8 hours ahead of California, and Florence is 9 hours ahead of California. So do have that in mind when you're thinking about the destination in which you want to intern. Everybody doing one of these internships will be doing so predominantly around their own time. You'll be sort of setting your own working schedules and fitting that work in around your classes. But that said, there will, in each case, there will always be some meetings or some events that you will need to attend that will be in person, again, virtually in person, and they will be on the time frame of London and Florence. So while internship sites are always as sympathetic as they possibly can be to the California time difference, if you are not an early riser, then those locations might not be the right destinations for you, because even if it's, even if it's a 4 p.m. meeting here in London, that's going to be an 8 a.m. Meeting time for you in California. So if you are happy to get up when the birds start singing, that is brilliant. But if not, then just think long and hard about whether you're prepared to start work early in the morning on some occasions for London and for Florence. Not as much of an issue for Costa Rica, but I will let Carla talk about that. So I'll pass over to Carla, and then any questions that anybody has, I'm happy to take about London or Florence, or indeed about the internship application process at the end as well.
Thank you very much, Corinne. Well, nice to meet you all. My name is Carla. I am based in Costa Rica, and I'm sorry I don't have Corinne's cool accent. But I'm going to tell you about some opportunities that we have here. Well, first of all, Spanish is not necessarily required for all settings or all places. Some of those might be just in English, or if you have some Spanish proficiency, or if you're a native speaker, that will be even better, because it will open your opportunities to volunteer in many areas, right? Well, one that I really like to share with you is an organization that we work with. It is dedicated to peace, to eradicate direct violence and structural violence in Costa Rica. This one is very rich, and it is very nice because, well, actually their main headquarters are in New York. And it's working basically with programs that are directed to students that are in schools in high-risk areas, social and economical high-risk areas, because that's where we start teaching peace, right? And then also they have a program, a very strong program that works directly with inmates in a prison here in San Jose. So to teach them also to reintegrate and be part of society. So it's two main programs, but of course they have many projects. They even work with fundraising projects all over the globe. So there are many opportunities, virtual opportunities for students who want to volunteer to intern in this foundation. Then we also have a nursing home. This one is one of my favorites for sure, because it is very interdisciplinary. So they have physical therapy, they have medicine, psychology, nursing, occupational therapy, and they work all together interdisciplinarily. So this one, students, even though you're not going to be going to the nursing home, right? You're going to have the chance to develop different projects from the seniors of the home, e-learning projects, occupational therapy projects, for example. And this one is very interesting because are actually the seniors that propose the projects from what they think they need, right? So in this way, students are going to be sometimes interacting directly with the population there. And then we also have a very nice foundation dedicated to human development. And this one, they work with children, only with children, and of course their families, right? To educate them in many ways. And they focus on early childhood all the way until they are adults. And they have e-learning projects also where you can teach English if you want, and to develop many other educational things for them. And like Corinne was saying, many of the places, they have also had to learn how to work virtually, right? Because nowadays that's how we do it. So this is very nice. And I think that everyone is a pioneer in this area. And it is for sure a great opportunity because you guys are going to be actually those who have the main experience on how to go virtually, and you're going to have a great advantage over many people that don't have that opportunity, right? Well, and we have many other opportunities, and I would like to share them with you. We have sent all the documents to your school, so you can see all the listed areas that you can see. Thank you. I don't know if you have any questions for later, perhaps. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Great. So we have a few more slides to finish out just about the application process and next steps. And then it is 9:35 right now, so we should have plenty of time for questions at the end if for those of you who have questions for us or for Carla or Corinne. So let's go ahead. So the cost for the program, there's the AIFS program fee of $600, and then as Zed mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, there is a 3-unit Skyline College course that is a part of the program, and that is typical community college, California community college tuition fees, which is $46 a unit. So that comes to $138 for the tuition. If you do typically receive financial aid that covers your tuition, then that should still also apply for your tuition. So the total cost comes out to $738. But we like to say, yes, you can afford it. If this is a program that you are really interested in and you are worried about the cost, please do come talk to us. We work with a lot of students to make it possible. And so we do have some funding opportunities. The first is the Smccd Study Abroad Scholarship, and that is up to $500. And that you will, if you do fill out the application for this program, we will send you the link to that application. It's a 4 short answer essay application, and that can be up to $500. So that could cover most of the program fees if you receive it. And then the Gilman Scholarship is up to $5,000. That deadline passed. I know some of you who are on the call today did apply for it, so fingers crossed. But that is a scholarship through the U.S. Department of State for study abroad, including virtual study abroad opportunities right now and virtual global internships. And that scholarship you can apply for twice a year, every first Tuesday of October and March. So if that is something you're interested in, you can talk to us. We can give you more information. That would be for a future program after the spring if you did not apply yet. But there is funding out there to make this possible. So next steps, apply online. Our priority application is this Thursday. So apply online by this Thursday, October 22nd. And you can schedule an advising appointment if you have any questions, if you want to meet with us one-on-one. I've been meeting with quite a few of you already. I see some of you on the call today, so I'm glad you're here. And then we will do priority interviews the week of October 26th. And next steps, so the program timeline, you can see the program timeline here. My box is out of the way. So the application, the priority application is due this Thursday, and then we'll do interviews, and the interviews will be with SMCCD and SRJC, some faculty and study abroad staff, and then students who are accepted into the program, that's when they would enroll with AIFS and start working with Corinne or Carla or Sophie from the offices abroad. And so the final application deadline, space permitting, if there is space, the absolute final deadline will be Thursday, October 29th. So it is all coming up very soon. So if you are interested, I encourage you to go ahead and apply as soon as possible. Applicants will be notified of acceptance by Monday, November 2nd at the latest. And then the deadline to actually enroll with AIFS and pay a program deposit of $150 is Friday, November 6th. And then the full program payment is due on Friday, December 4th. The scholarship deadline, I should have put this date on there, but the SMCCD Study Abroad Scholarship deadline is October 30th, so the day after the final application deadline. And students who are accepted, or all students, will be notified of the scholarship award decisions before the November 6th deadline to enroll with AIFS and pay the deposit. And then the After the full program payment of December 4th, from there, then you would begin working with AIFS for, as Corinne was explaining during that process of working with the staff to share your resume and to potentially meet with a potential supervisor abroad. And then the program begins February 1st and runs through the spring semester until April 30th. So it's about a 3-month internship. And during that time, you will be enrolled in the COOP 671, the cooperative education, taught by Professor Lavinia Zanassi. And so you'll have some online work during that time that really focuses on the internship experience and developing your professional portfolio, as well as, reflecting on the experience and navigating any excitements and or challenges during the process. Okay, so this is a sneak peek of the, actually before I go, this timeline is online on our website. So if you go to tinyurl.com/virtual internships SMCCD, you'll find the program application, the program website for our spring 2021 virtual internships. And on that website, you'll find the application, the program timeline that we show here, as well as the detailed list of internship opportunities that Carla and Corinne were discussing. So we can show you that in a bit. Okay, and so this is a sneak peek at the application. This is all it is. This is what it looks like. So for the application, there are 4 short answer essay questions, answering each with about 1 to 2 concise paragraphs. So the questions for the application are, what is your major and what type of industry are you hoping to gain experience? What types of skill sets would you like to gain? So considering the various industries that you saw, for example, business, communication, education, medical health, mental health, etc. How will this program impact you and help you reach your academic and career goals? The third question is, give an example of your strategies for interacting with people who are different from you and communicating with people from different cultural and language backgrounds. Because again, you will be working, even though remotely, you will be working with people who are based in another country. And so that thinking about how do you communicate across cultures and languages. And then what aspects of this virtual internship opportunity do you expect will be the most challenging for you, and how will you prepare for and overcome those challenges? So that is the full writing part. We encourage you, when you go onto the website, you'll see this landing page. Do your application first in a Word document, because you are not able to save and return to the application. So it's good to have all your answers ready so you can just cut and paste. The documents you will need a copy of your most recent college transcript, and the links are on the website for if you're an SRJC or an SMCCD student, or if you're from another college or used to study but you're not currently studying, just whatever your most recent transcripts are. And then an updated resume, and as Corinne mentioned, that's really important. They will ask, it's one of the first things they'll ask for. And then 2 professional or academic references who can speak to your ability to succeed in an internship. So you don't need a letter of recommendation, but we just need those references from you. And here's a student testimonial from one of our past students who did a global internship. Again, this was not a virtual one because this is the first time we are doing virtual internships, but Laurel interned in Ireland a few summers ago, and about her experience, she said she's learned to adapt to a different work culture, which was eye-opening due to the relaxed yet efficient work environment, which contrasts to American work culture. And what I learned about myself during this internship was that I am a resourceful person who's willing to put my all into a project. And some examples of the work. So just an example of the variety of opportunities that are available through global internships and building and reflecting on your experiences in this new environment. Okay, and last but not least, we have an Instagram page. If you are on Instagram, we post anytime we have deadlines or new opportunities, or we post student experiences. So we encourage you to follow us. We are at smccd_study_abroad. So I will go ahead now, and that is all. Okay, so I want to leave the rest of the time. We have about 15 minutes left. We can go ahead and take this time now for questions. So I do see a raised hand. So if you would like to ask your question live, if you can go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll go in order that we see them raised. And then you can also type questions in the chat box. Okay, so I see Jacqueline, we have a question from you. I can go ahead and unmute you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just had a question because I'm actually graduating this semester from Sacramento State University with my bachelor's in international relations and psychology. So I'm very interested in going to Costa Rica to work for like an NGO, but I'm also interested in London for politics. But I just wanted to see what the probability of like maybe pursuing an actual career within those internships after the internship is done. So like what are the opportunities to continue on in one of those aspects?
So do you mean to work with a company, if you were to intern with a specific company abroad, to then possibly be hired by that company, or within the field as a whole?
Within that company, yes. Like, is there an opportunity to stay longer and work with them?
That is a good question. Carl and Corinne, in your experience with having students intern with the companies and organizations that you work with, have they hired on any students afterwards, or do you know of these particular companies and organizations?
In London, the problem that we have in London is the visa regulations. In-person internships require a working visa, which would usually require you to either be a citizen of one of the European Union nations or to be married to somebody from one of those countries. So that is the biggest obstacle to be overcome, to be honest, in terms of staying on. We have had many internships who have wanted to hire students, but usually that is the stumbling block, which means that they haven't been able to do so. But that's not to say that that company might not have sister organizations in other locations where it was easier, obviously including the US. It just depends from business to business. Carla,
Yes.
what's your experience been?
Yes, the same as Corinne, because of the policies that we have here in Costa Rica. You must have a working permit to work here in Costa Rica. However, I think that that's an interesting question, because nowadays with the format that we have worldwide, right? I cannot say no or yes, right, right now, because companies will start having this new experience of having international internships in their organization. So perhaps if they see that there's a great potential in this type of work and in the student, and since the student is not coming to Costa Rica to live, I don't know if your plan is to stay in the States and work virtually afterwards. I think that that would be something to evaluate during the day internship, and if the company is willing, actually, and if they see a necessity to have someone from abroad working for them and continue a collaboration, perhaps.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, and then I have one. I see Lauren wrote a question in the chat, so we can answer that one, and then I will go on to Nicholas. So Lauren wants to ask about the average weekly time commitment to both the course and internship. Does this vary per location? Corinne and Carla, I mean, we have I know based on the course load, and the amount of time, it's about a 15 hour commitment per week for the course and internship. Does this vary at all depending on the company in your experience or the location?
Not usually, no. We're usually guided by how many hours the student needs to complete on campus, and we would make sure that you got that amount of hours. Every now and again, a student could be enjoying their internship so much that they might want to do a few more hours, but typically speaking, the requirement which we would relay to the placement at the beginning would be for that set amount of hours that are needed to be completed for your credit back on campus.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And depending on the schedule also, it all depends also on the company. If they have a schedule, for example, they might have program meetings or activities. So students have to be on that time, but usually because it's also virtual, so sometimes it might not be required to be in a schedule from 8 to 5, right? So you can also work based on objectives and work on your own time.
Great. Ed, were you gonna, did you have something? I saw you unmute.
Yeah, I wanted to see if Lavinia could add some of the hours requirements for the course.
The course, the cooperative education course, is designed to work in alignment with what students are experiencing career-wise. So for example, if there are some basic questions that have to do with communication or cultural differences, so it's an opportunity for students to come together and to share their own perspectives. So it's almost like an opportunity for students to have support that they will receive from us because they're here near us, so to speak, that they may not be able to find otherwise, so that they don't feel alone. One thing I wanted to make a comment on is I think for students, these are wonderful opportunities. Recently, I went to a workshop and they talked about the skills that are necessary in today's world. And it's so interesting to me that the top 5, which were communication, the ability to work independently and as a team member, being technologically savvy, and finally, understanding how the world of work is changing. So being able to pivot, as they put it, and to also shift. And each one of those components were mentioned by both Carla and Corinne. So I just want to convey to you that this would be a wonderful opportunity for you to sort of not only increase, but also refine some of the skills that you already have, because I know students are quite technologically savvy, but to tell someone in a prospective interview that may come up in 6 months that you experience this, it just puts you, I think, at another level. So I just wanted to sort of applaud Carla and Corinne, because I know that this is all a work in progress, but that we're trying to figure a way in which students can not necessarily leave their home physically, but emotionally, psychologically, and certainly culturally, they'll be able to experience something way beyond a regular semester at either Santa Rosa or at San Mateo Community College. So just wanted to give that little bit of information.
Great, thank you, Lavinia. Okay, now I see a hand for Nicholas. Nicholas, would you like to ask your question live?
Hi, good morning. I was wondering, for the Costa Rica internship, is that taking place in the summer or is that the spring as well?
Well, now we have it for the spring, right? Because it's the school dates.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nicholas. This specifically, these programs that we're talking about right now are for the spring 2021 virtual internships. We do plan to continue offering these internship programs and virtual opportunities moving forward. even beyond COVID-19, once, you know, doing things in person is possible again, we still see the value of offering some virtual opportunities. And so we do plan to continue to offer some virtual opportunities in the future. We don't have all the details for the summer programs quite yet, but we do expect to have ongoing virtual opportunities. Okay, so I don't see any more hands raised or questions in the chat box. Does anyone have any other questions for either Zed or myself or Lavinia or for Corinne or Carla, or any comments?
I have a question for, oh, Nicholas has a question again, so let's go to him. Go ahead.
Thank you. So on the application process, is there like a list of the opportunities on there that we'll pick from, or is it, do we go from the website and then we pick the opportunities from there and put those on the application?
That's a great question. So, when you're applying through the SMCCD application, the SRJC SMCCD application, in those 4 essay questions, you can talk about, you know, the experience you're hoping to gain and the skills you're hoping to develop, as well as your previous experience. And then in terms of the opportunities available, I have the more detailed list that Carla and Corinne were referring to. So let me go ahead and share my screen. This is on our website. So when you go to apply, you can find this on our website. But these are some of the opportunities that are currently available in Florence, London, and Costa Rica. So you can certainly, if there are ones, I think as Corinne and Carla were saying, if there are certain companies or organizations that you're most interested in, let them know. You know, they can't get necessarily guarantee an exact placement, but do let them know what you're interested in. That's important. And this list is continuing to be developed. So this is what is currently available. And as there are more opportunities, as this is developing, we're updating it on the website as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I guess my final question, you know, was, you know, to everyone here in this group. So we currently have a few students who have already applied for this program, and you know, we're looking forward to hosting the interviews next week for the priority applications. And you know, this is, you know, sort of does feel a little on a, you know, we're on a tight timeline for this program. So just a show of hands here, you know, you can raise your virtual hand. How many of you are seriously considering applying for these internship opportunities?
Zed, if you can explain how to do that, all students may not know how to do the raise.
So if you go on your Zoom, if you go to the reactions, there's a little smiley emoji thing. You can give a thumbs up, or you could raise your hand under the chat option, I believe.
The participants.
The participants.
Yeah, you can go to participants next to the chat box, and then you can see.
Yeah, I think you could also use reactions. It looks as if it's a waving hand and a thumbs up. So you could wave your hand or raise your hand.
Any sort of reaction works.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing all your applications. And, you know, definitely email us or contact us if you have any further questions. We're happy to address them.
And I am writing right now all the screen I just shared with the internship list. I am going to put that link in the chat box right now. And I will also send the application link as well. Well, I'll send the link to the virtual internship website, and you'll see on the web page there is a box for apply now. And so again, the deadline for the priority application is this Thursday, the 22nd. And we encourage you all to apply then. And then if there are available spaces after, we may take some more applications at the very latest, October 29th. Okay. And so I see all the hands raised now. I want to make sure there aren't any, those aren't question hands. Those are still left over from the, if you do have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself. And otherwise it is 10 o'clock. So we thank you all for attending, and we look forward to receiving your application, and have a great day. Corinne, have a great night.
I just wanted to thank you guys for like doing the opportunity virtually, because I know about this internship because I'm interested in the one in Florence, and I know about it for about 3 years, but because I couldn't, I can't go out of the United States. So this is like the perfect opportunity right now, doing it virtually. It's just, thank you so much for doing that.
Great, thank you, Alexandra. We're excited that this will allow more students to participate as well. And so thank you for letting us know that feedback.
Yes.
It's really good to know.
And thank you, Carla and Corinne, also for your participation and clarification. It makes me want to participate even more. So Zed, I might apply and you can get someone else to be the faculty.
You can do both.
Yes, thank you, Carla and Corinne.
Thank you very much.
To AIFS, here for supporting us in this.
Very welcome.
I will go ahead and stop the recording.